What you're about to witness is not entertainment. This is not storyline. This is a man's career, a man's life hanging in the balance because Drew McIntyre lost every ounce of control and humanity he had left. Jacob Fatu is in critical condition right now, and WWE management sat back and let it happen. I don't care if you're Team Drew or Team Bloodline, what happened last night on SmackDown was inexcusable, and the fact that WWE is trying to sweep this under the rug like it's just another Monday. Disgusting. Drop your thoughts in the comments right now because this conversation needs to happen. Let me paint you the picture of what transpired, and trust me, no amount of camera cuts or production magic can hide the brutality of what Drew McIntyre unleashed. Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf himself, the most dominant force to enter WWE in years, is now fighting for his career in a hospital bed. Let that sink in. It started innocently enough, if you can call anything involving the bloodline innocent. Fatu was cutting a promo, doing what he does best, intimidating the entire roster with that terrifying presence. But Drew McIntyre had other plans. The Scottish Warrior stormed that ring with a look in his eyes that veterans backstage are saying they've never seen before. This wasn't the Drew we know. This wasn't calculated aggression. This was a man possessed. The first Claymore kick? Expected. The second? Concerning. But Drew didn't stop there. He hit 5 consecutive Claymore kicks to a defenseless Jacob Fatu. 5. And here's what makes my blood boil, referees were there. Producers were there. Security was standing right there, and nobody stopped him until it was too late. The details: WWE doesn't want you to KNOW now. WWE's official statement says Fatu suffered significant injuries and is being monitored closely. Let me translate that corporate speak for you. They're covering their backsides because they know they dropped the ball massively. Sources close to the situation, and yes, I've been working my contacts all night, are reporting that Jacob Fatu sustained a severe concussion, possible cervical spine trauma, and internal injuries that required immediate hospitalization. Do you understand the gravity of that? We're not talking about selling moves for the cameras. We're talking about a legitimate medical emergency that happened on live television while millions watched in horror. The fact that WWE cut to commercial break in the middle of medical personnel attending to Fatu tells you everything you need to know about their priorities. And Drew? He stood there. Smiled as they loaded Jacob Fatu onto a stretcher. What kind of human being does that? I don't care what Fatu or the bloodline did to provoke him, there are lines you don't cross in this business, and Drew McIntyre didn't just cross them, he obliterated them. The bloodline's response is coming now. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The bloodline. Roman Reigns. Solo Sikoa. Tama Tonga. Tonga Loa. Do you really think they're going to let this slide? Fatu isn't just another member, he's family. He's the enforcer, the muscle, the one guy in that group who legitimately strikes fear into everyone's hearts. Backstage sources are saying Roman Reigns went ballistic when he heard what happened. We're talking chairs thrown, doors slammed, producers scrambling to keep him away from Drew's locker room. Solo Sikoa reportedly had to be physically restrained by 8 security guards, 8, because he was ready to hunt Drew down right then and there. And you know what? I don't blame them. Say what you want about the bloodline's tactics, their manipulation, their dominance, they've never put someone in the hospital like this. They've never crossed into territory where lawyers and insurance companies start having emergency meetings. Drew McIntyre just declared war on the most dangerous faction in WWE history, and the retaliation is going to be biblical. Here's where I'm going to get real controversial, and I don't care who at WWE headquarters hears this. Triple H and the entire management team should be ashamed of themselves. This is on them. They've been letting Drew spiral out of control for months now, and instead of stepping in, instead of getting him help, they've been promoting his unhinged behavior for ratings. Remember Drew's attacks on CM Punk? The obsession, the stalking, the inability to let anything go? That was your warning sign. That was management's opportunity to intervene and say, hey, maybe we need to dial this back before someone gets seriously hurt. But no. They gave him more TV time, more freedom, more opportunities to let his demons take control. And now a young superstar with his entire career ahead of him is lying in a hospital bed because WWE prioritized shock value over wrestler safety. Don't even get me started on the medical team's response time. 17 seconds. It took 17 seconds from the final Claymore for medical personnel to hit the ring. In combat sports, in legitimate athletic competition, you have medical standing by ringside for this exact reason. Let me ask you something, and be honest in the comments. If this was Roman Reigns who put someone in the hospital, if this was a bloodline member who crossed this line, what would the response be? There would be outrage. There would be calls for suspensions, fines, terminations. The media would be running hit pieces about WWE's toxic culture. But because it's Drew McIntyre, because he's the Scottish warrior with the fan-favorite comeback story, suddenly it's being framed as justified? As intense? As good TV? The hypocrisy is staggering. I've seen people on social media actually defending this attack, saying Fatu deserved it, saying the bloodline had it coming. Nobody deserves to be in critical condition. Nobody deserves to have their career potentially ended because someone couldn't control their temper. This isn't about face versus heel, good guy versus bad guy. This is about basic human decency and the responsibility every performer has to their colleagues. What happens next? So where does WWE go from here? How do they possibly recover from this PR nightmare? Because make no mistake, this is a nightmare. Mainstream media is picking up this story. Sports outlets are questioning WWE's safety protocols. Advertisers are reportedly making calls. This is bad. Really bad. Drew McIntyre needs to be suspended immediately, and I'm not talking about a storyline suspension for show. I'm talking about a legitimate suspension while WWE conducts a full investigation into what happened and why their safety protocols failed so spectacularly. He needs mandatory counseling, anger management, whatever it takes to ensure something like this never happens again. As for Jacob Fatu, the wrestling world is holding its collective breath. Updates have been scarce, which honestly makes everything more terrifying. The Samoan wrestling dynasty, the Anoa'i family, has given everything to this business. For one of their own to be fighting for his career like this? It's heartbreaking. It's infuriating. It's unacceptable. The locker room is divided. What's even more disturbing is how the locker room has fractured over this incident. I'm hearing reports of heated arguments backstage, superstars taking sides, friendships being destroyed. Some wrestlers are defending Drew, saying the bloodline has brutalized people for years and this was karma. Others are appalled, saying Drew violated the trust every performer shares when they step into that ring together. Seth Rollins reportedly called an impromptu locker room meeting, trying to keep the peace, but even that devolved into chaos. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens nearly came to blows over their disagreement about the situation. Cody Rhodes has remained suspiciously silent, and that silence speaks volumes about the uncomfortable position this puts everyone in. The question everyone's avoiding here is what nobody in WWE wants to address. Was this a work that went too far, or was this a shoot disguised as a work? Because the line between reality and fiction has become so blurred in modern wrestling that even the boys in the back don't know what's real anymore. And that is dangerous. If this was planned, if WWE authorized this level of violence knowing the potential consequences, then we have a systemic problem that goes way beyond one incident. If this wasn't planned, if Drew genuinely went into business for himself, then we have a performer who's completely out of control and shouldn't be allowed near a wrestling ring until he gets serious help. Either scenario is terrifying for the future of WWE. The fans deserve answers, and what about us? What about the fans who invest our time, money, and emotions into this product? We deserve transparency. We deserve to know that the performers we support are being protected. We deserve accountability from a company that's valued at billions of dollars but apparently can't ensure basic safety protocols. WWE needs to come clean. Hold a press conference. Address this situation with the seriousness it deserves. No more corporate statements written by lawyers. No more updates that tell us nothing. If Jacob Fatu's career is over because of this, fans deserve to know. If Drew McIntyre is being disciplined, fans deserve to know. If WWE is overhauling their safety procedures, fans deserve to know. This is WWE's defining moment. How they handle this situation will determine everything about their future credibility. Are they a legitimate sports entertainment organization that values performer safety? Or are they just another corporation chasing ratings at any cost, even if that cost is someone's health, career, or life? Drew McIntyre's vicious beatdown of Jacob Fatu isn't just another angle. It's not just another segment we'll forget about next week. This is a watershed moment that will have consequences for months, maybe years to come. The bloodline won't forget. The locker room won't forget. And we shouldn't forget, so I'm asking you right now, drop a comment below. Tell me if you think Drew went too far. Tell me if WWE management should be held accountable. Tell me what you would do if you were in charge right now. Share this video because this conversation needs to reach every corner of the wrestling world. Hit that like button if you agree that performer safety should always come before entertainment. This is WWE in turmoil, and things are about to get a whole lot worse before they get better. Jacob Fatu's condition remains critical, Drew McIntyre is unapologetic, and the bloodline is planning revenge. Stay tuned because this story is far from over.